is Joe Osbaker, and I'm with the Anti-War Committee in Chicago. I'm a stockholder in Boeing, and I'm here in particular to talk to Boeing about their provision of weapons to Israel, despite the mounting charges of genocide against the Israeli military. The Boeing company continues to sign contracts and renew contracts, and their most recent contract with Israel is for an $83 million resupply of kits that make dumb bombs into smart bombs. We find that to be completely unacceptable morally and ethically. It's contributing to an unjust war. So we're here to express our opposition to that.
The title of the piece is Killing for Dollars, or An Ode to Boeing. Some do it for fun, some for revenge or hate or fear. But when you do it for dollars, the message is clear. If you create a person of many and own the more, then killing for profit is simply a score. The higher the number, the bigger you grow. You build buildings, hire people, wave flags. It's part of the show. Think of the humans or animals or earth. Make a bomb, up the score. It raises the worth of the stock, of the fame, of the game, of killing for dollars. A long time ago, two-time Medal of Honor recipient, Marine Major General Smedley Butler wrote a booklet called War is a Racket. Smedley had great courage to write and speak those words in 1935. He couldn't have known that he was planting a seed that would affect me. I first read Smedley's words in 2003. I was in business then, just waking up to my military experience from the U.S. war against the people of Vietnam. I learned a lot since 2003. I call war a business. It's part of the violence industry that produces weapons and fear and hate. Boeing is a major cog in the violence industry. By standing up and expressing our humanity, we are planting seeds. Like all seeds, they may grow and supply food for the mind of one or many, or they may not. But plant we must, because one never knows if the seeds we are planting here today may one day deeply affect someone and change their life. Killing for dollars, no matter how many buildings you build or people you hire or flags you wave, is killing. Boeing is a killer. We have to keep planting seeds. Thank you.
Boeing is engaged in the modernization of tactical nuclear weapons, specifically the B-61 Model 12 nuclear bomb, which is designed as a penetrator to address bunkers deep underground. Specifically, according to the logic of the Pentagon, bunkers of renegade dictators, but most likely the bunker that protects the Russian leadership, their military and political leadership, just like we in this country have a bunker deep in a mountain to protect our military leadership. The Russians are very suspect of U.S. intentions, specifically since it has pushed NATO closer and closer to its borders, rendering its defenses more and more vulnerable to a first strike with weapons such as this B-61 nuclear weapon, which in modernizing Boeing makes more usable in the minds of Washington and Pentagon war planners. Just as Boeing is using its tail kit, the JDAM tail kit, to make more accurate the bombs being delivered against Palestinian women, children, and communities. They are also engaged in using that on this B-61 nuclear bomb to make it more accurate and hence, in their logic, more usable because they can use a smaller explosive force and assure themselves that they will destroy their target. They claim that they will achieve less radioactive contamination by using a smaller explosive yield because it's more accurate, and hence delude themselves that they're making a green nuclear weapon, a usable nuclear weapon. Boeing is directly complicit in making the potential of nuclear war more likely. I call on them to abandon the contract that they have with the Pentagon to modernize the B-61 nuclear weapon and to give up on their war productions entirely. Thank you.
Thank everyone for coming. My name's Kate McIntyre. I'm with the Anti-War Committee Chicago. Boeing has gathered here today to try to conduct business. What is business as usual for Boeing? Many believe it is the building of commercial aircraft. However, as the #2 weapons manufacturer in the United States, we know that Boeing profits off of death and destruction, which is why we are here today. In November 2014, Boeing secured an $83 million contract with the Israeli Air Force for providing 3,000 Joint Direct Attack Munitions, or JDAMs for short. JDAMs are kits that convert unguided bombs into smart or guided weapons. How does Israel use these JDAMs? During Operation Cast Lead in 2008-2009, which killed over 1,000 Palestinians, out of all the bombs dropped, 81% were using Boeing's JDAM tail with Boeing's satellite-guided software. Thus, we can say that Boeing contributed directly to the deaths of over 80% of the Palestinians dead. The deal made in November, which was brokered just months after Operation Protective Edge, which resulted in the deaths of over 2,000 Palestinians, including 513 children, and incited protests around the world. We are not letting Boeing forget that they have the blood of thousands of Palestinians on their hands.
Good morning, I'm Larissa Legrete of the National Alliance for Filipino Concern. I'm here for the following reasons. Number one, we are in solidarity with the Palestinian people, and we know that the drones, Boeing drones, are for Israel, to supply Israel is actually to destroy the Palestinian people. Number two, we decry the foreign policy of the U.S. because of the presence of the military troops, the U.S. Marines in my country, due to the Visiting Forces Agreement and the Enhanced Development Cooperation Agreement, and now they're trying to have the U.S. bases permanently be stationed in the Philippines together with Japan. January of 2015, the President of the Philippines together with the FBI did not even go under the chain of command, bypassed the armed forces of the Philippines, bypassed the civilian government, and conducted an operation in the name of the war of terror against a so-called Al-Qaeda Indonesian guy. And as a result, it has massacred the Philippine National Police themselves, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, and a lot of civilians were killed. And until now, there are thousands, tens of thousands of people who have evacuated and displaced from their own land in Mindanao, in the Philippines. Number three, that the foreign policy of the U.S. caters big business, especially the arms industry. And it destroys a lot of people, and it's making wars in different countries. And it's also said that our president is a puppet of the U.S. government for doing that, and at the same time that he is in cahoots with the FBI for that particular operation, and never even give time to Filipino citizens, overseas Filipino workers who are convicted wrongfully in other countries, just like Mary Jane. At 11 o'clock now, Chicago time, she's due for execution by firing squad by the Indonesian government for a crime she did not commit as a human traffic victim. And so this collaboration between the puppet U.S. president and the policies of the U.S. and the American interest in my country is destroying my people. Therefore, all this war of aggression, the foreign policy that caters to arms industry, just like, Boeing and even Senator Durbin, who is really receiving, campaign money from Boeing. And being here in the U.S., it is sad Because look at Chicago. Look at, in the middle of Chicago, you see poverty amidst all this grandeur. And it's really sad because even if the money of the government, US government should go to welfare services, but we don't see that. Rauner is cutting everything now. All the budget cuts. UIC will have more than 200 million budget cut. So, this war, represented by Boeing as, the big interest supported by the government of the US, is a war against the people. It's a war against labor, it's a war against the migrants, it's a war against women, against children, against Mother Earth. It's a war against humanity. Thank you.